Now back to the show. This is The Law Show on CL 650.
Welcome back to The Law Show here on CIL 650. We're talking with Alex Stojcevic, one of the partners with Maynard Kisher Stojcevic. We're talking immigration and citizenship matters on this episode of The Law Show. Alex was talking to us a little bit about this new nomination program that each Canadian province has the ability under the Citizenship Act to nominate, that is, bring in a certain small number of people. Here in BC, it's approximately 5,000 people a year, but we're specifically talking about the business category under the new BC nomination program. And how many individuals would that be likely on an annual basis, Alex?
Well, in the case of business applicants, it's between 300 and 400.
Okay.
And I'm going to go through that process in a minute, but I'm going to instead bring our conversation to Australia for a moment.
All right.
Did you hear the Land Down Under?
I did hear the land. I did.
Well, why is the Land Down Under matter to us in Canadian immigration? It matters because almost all of the changes that have made the current government excited from a policy perspective are coming from Australia.
Correct.
Including online applications, expressions of interest, not being tied down to first come, first serve, which is, a harrowed old Canadian principle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But rather picking the best. So all of that has informed policymakers with many of the changes that you've seen. And a lot of those have come from Australia.
And one of the things that we Canadians have seen over time, with a certain degree of envy, I think even, Alex, was the vigilance that Australians had with respect to who gets in and why. They always, from this distance at least, seemed to be much more strict about who got in and why.
Well, I think that's appearance more than it is anything else. But it is a model for whatever reason that the Conservatives have been very excited about. Now, that being said, in terms of the changes that you see here with the BCP&P and with the expression of interest, there's a chance here to do some good.
Okay.
And I mean, I personally have worked with many Chinese businessmen and businessmen from Iran, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and other countries, from Europe, from Germany, who have come to Vancouver, from Egypt, and who've come to Vancouver, and who've done amazing things as investors under these categories.
Okay.
And what we have finally is an ability within this system, the way it's been designed at the BCP&P, is to separate those that are serious from those that are not.
What's P&P?
The provincial nominee program that
Okay.
we've been talking
Okay.
about. So in this entrepreneur category, you should understand what people are committing to. When they come and they pitch a business idea, if they're selected, then they'll be given a chance to formally apply, pay a $3,500 fee, at which point the province will support them to get a work permit, okay, that's valid for 2 years to bring them and their family here and to work in their business. And if they meet certain criteria that are agreed to as part of a performance agreement, hire a certain number of employees,
Sure, yeah.
run the business for a certain period of time, show a certain amount of revenue, if that performance agreement is fulfilled, and generally they're valid for 20 months, the provincial government will then issue the nomination certificate allowing the applicant to apply for permanent residence.
Aha. As a BC nominee.
As a BC nominee
Interesting.
in that business category.
Gotcha, okay.
So through this program, I've seen some people both do some very amazing things. Start new businesses that have been very successful in the Lower Mainland. Save businesses in British Columbia that are about to go not under necessarily, but who were where the owner was just, he'd made a go of it in whatever town, and there was nobody willing to buy his business, and he would have had to shut it down and lay his workers off.
Right.
Because no one was interested in going to invest in a hotel in Nelson.
Sure.
Or in a bed and breakfast somewhere up in the north, or a gym in Nanaimo, or in a whale watching business that had been for sale for quite some time. All of these are examples where an investor came in and protected Canadian jobs, okay, by buying this existing business and running it and showing that they could run it.
So I get the feeling that this new provincial nomination program, Alex, contains perhaps an unprecedented layer of accountability that we haven't seen before in terms of these promises of performance that will be diligently followed, and you will be held to that to account on that promise of performance.
It always was there. The problem was that if someone had a real legitimate business idea, the backlogs were so long, and these entrepreneurs were often waiting 3 years because they were surrounded by people who maybe weren't so serious about running a business.
Yeah.
You know, and they were steered into sham businesses sometimes, or the consultant or whoever they were dealing with was putting up a front business just to get them status.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are no, you can't do that anymore under this system.
Okay.
So those few people that I pointed out who are not few. I mean, they probably represent the majority of applicants who are sincere and who really wanted to do something in British Columbia.
Right.
They're going to have an easier time, and they're not going to have to be frustrated by a 2 and 3 year wait. They'll be dealt with much more quickly if their scores are high. And I think that's what the economy needs. We need a system that's responsive. If you have a really good business idea,
right, get
and
out
you
there
have the capital,
get it going.
Why would we stop you from doing it?
Sure.
But if you've got a vague idea, no real understanding of how working in a regulated environment like North America is.
Yes.
If you don't understand what workers' compensation payments are and that GST remittances are required,
yeah,
and that you have to register for things, you'll be at the back of the queue. And it seems to me that the entrepreneurs who do their homework, who are the most prepared, who have the best business plans and the best advice, probably are going to be the ones that will succeed the best too. Those are the ones who will do well in this system.
Well, then that's what you want to hear. As a British Columbian, you want to hear that your province has brought in a new regime of immigrant nomination programs that are effective and will work and hold individuals to accountability. So it would reduce the gaming of the system a whole lot, wouldn't it?
Well, 100%. How could you game a system like this?
Well, it's
impossible.
That comes as great comfort to a lot of us, I think.
And I mean, we're not talking about an insignificant amount of money. If there are 400 applicants who are putting in between the minimum investment, 200,000, and the maximum where you get points for, which is $1 million.
Right.
The numbers probably based on their scoring system, the average applicant will probably have to put forward $500,000 to be picked. That's $200 million annually into the economy.
Sure.
That is not passive investments, that are direct investments in businesses directly tied to job creation. That's not an insignificant amount of money.
Alex, where would you recommend people go to learn more about this new BC provincial nomination program? Is with the provincial website, do you have it at vancouverlaw.ca, which is the Maynard Kisher Stojcevic website? Do you have a link to this already? I know it's fresh off the press, so to speak. It hasn't even been out for just a month.
We do have a link.
Oh, perfect.
So that's one way to do it. The other thing to do is to go directly to the BC PNP's website, which is part of the welcomebc.ca website that's run by the provincial government. This new program is outlined in a 44-page guide that they've put forward, and I have to say they're focused now because they're only taking applications online. They have beefed up their online presence.
Well, it's from what little we've managed to glean from you this morning is certainly encouraging. So I would encourage those who are finding this intriguing and interesting to do a follow-up. And VancouverLaw.ca, that's the Maynard Kisher Stojcevic website, and there is a link there, and you can learn about Alex and, his colleagues and more about the firm as well. Alex, thanks for coming by. Good to see you again. Thanks for including us in your summer activity list.
Thank you very much, Sterling. Always a pleasure.
Red Robinson and the Diner are next.